And we're live. Hi, Kemi. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Hello, Tolani. I'm great, thank you. And you?
Okay, and I'm great, thank you. I'm so excited to have you here on our Business Leaders webinar. We've been discussing bringing you for a very, very long time. It's very hard to get hold
Oh,
of you.
nice.
I'm going to admit that. So yeah, just brief introduction. My name is Tolani Thomas Allison. I'm the principal consultant at Halisi Consults, and on this Business Leaders webinar today, we have Kemi Martins, who is the lead brand strategist at Branddosh. She's a branding expert, and I have had the honor of working with her. Just a bit of background: I actually know Kemi from the University of Lagos. We were both students at the University of Lagos, Greater
Hmm?
Coca, at a certain point in time, and that's how our paths collided. And also, our paths later on collided in the world of business, where I came to need Kemi's help as a branding expert, and she also leaned on me for business development. And it's so exciting to be able to speak to you today, Kemi, and learn from your
Likewise.
wealth of knowledge
I
in the
am.
branding space. Kemi has worked with a lot of brands that you might have already seen or heard of, Love Nine, Heels and Tech, and our own brand itself, Kia Spen, a footwear brand doing leatherwear brand, yeah,
Yeah, let a
doing
good brand.
amazing
Mhm.
work in footwear, bags, belts, etc. So Kemi, thank you so much for making the time. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Happy to be here.
And on
I'm happy to be here. Mm.
Great, great, great. So let's get into the topic. The topic today is brand positioning and how to rise above competition with your branding, essentially. So let's start from the basics.
Mhm.
What is brand positioning?
Okay, so I always like to simplify this definition because a lot of people have defined it in so many ways. And so when you think of brand position, just think of what that a company represents in the minds of consumers. So when you think of a brand, what's that first thing that pops up in your head? You know, is it the product that pops up? Is it the emotions you feel when you're associated with the brand? Is it the quality of their service? It can be anything and everything, So basically, that thing that pops up in your head when you think of a brand, that is what brand positioning is called, and it is extremely essential in any brand we have today because I'm sure you're aware the competition now is crazy. I mean, anybody can literally start up a business in give or take 124 hours. Or what
Wow.
am I saying? Like 1 hour. I mean, once you open an Instagram page these days, people refer to
Business
that
is
as
live.
business. Exactly, without even registering the company. So, I mean, there's so many brands doing all sorts, even doing what you're doing as a company or brand. So it is extremely important for you to position your brand strategically, in the minds of consumers. So that is basically the rough and most simple definition I can give brand positioning today.
Mm. Okay, that's very interesting. I like that you said that it's how people feel about your brand essentially.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So what essentially that means to me is that
Uh-huh.
whether or not I'm putting in the effort to brand my business, you're also going to feel a certain type of way about my business.
Exactly. Exactly. So let
So
me build up on that.
yeah,
So I always say this: a brand is formed with or without you, with or without your efforts, with or without whether you put in the strategic line of plan or not, a brand is being formed. So when you know a brand is being formed, why not just make it more deliberate and strategic and shape the way people will think of your brand as opposed to them thinking of your brand anyhow. Now, let me
mm,
paint a scenario. So if you start a business today and you're not deliberate about, okay, this is what my business stands for. This is what I want it to stand for as a founder or strategist or whatever
mhm,
position the person is in the company. I want customers to feel the certain way when they come across our product, come across our website, come across any messaging. This is you defining what you want your brand to become in the minds of your customers. Now, compared to someone who doesn't do anything at all, you know what? I just want to sell this product. I just want to be out there. I know I can do this. And when you do it that way, one, two, three, 5, 10, 50 different people would come across your brand and feel totally different things. That is the truth. That is the reality because they're not getting any cohesive or planned experience
yep.
from that has been done internally, deliberately. So if you don't do it that way, a lot of people are going to have different perceptions of your brand, which is very dicey and unnecessary. I mean, why not do something well if you want to do it in the first place? So yeah, that is to build up on what you've said. Mm,
Yes, I completely agree with that. You know, what is what doing is what doing well. If
it
you're
is.
going to build a business, it's so easy to start a business
Mhm.
today. If you're going to build
It
a
is.
business, why not as well just, work on building the brand as well? Because whether or not you put in the efforts, people are going to have a perception of your
Yep.
brand.
Yep.
100% I
There.
agree with you.
Of
So, just to get right into the thick of things, what
course.
mistakes do you think startups should avoid when positioning their brands?
Okay, so the first mistake I would mention is avoid being a Me Too brand. Oh, let me paint a scenario. Oh, you know what? My competitors or someone I aspire to be like abroad or even in Nigeria is doing this certain way. I am going to study them and copy everything they are doing so that way I can be as successful as them. That is failure number one. Because that's a failure number one because you as a fresh brand or fresh business might not have the amount of money or resources they have pumped into their business, so you can't actually copy everything in and out. It will come back to bite you. So it is good to study your competitors, it's good to understand what they're doing, but use that as an advantage to find what they are not doing. I don't believe money is everything. Yes, money helps when it comes to marketing awareness, but that is when creative
Mm,
thinking comes in. If you can
comes in.
think creatively how to, what my competitors or brands I aspire to be like are doing this, that. You know what? Let me just come in like this. I mean, it's small, but it might have more impact. So that is the mistake. Number one mistake people make, that is copying brand. Number two mistake is not being deliberate, which I've mentioned before, in the sense that okay, yes, this is my company, this is what we do, this is the product we sell, and this is
Mm,
who we are selling to. Everything is broad, not niching down. Okay,
mm.
you're selling to women, age 18 to 50, or working class women, working class women, they're working about, like, you just everything is generic, literally.
Mass
That
market.
is, you're setting up yourself for failure. So as a new brand, except you have one Dangote money somewhere, the best you can do is just niche down. Take that,
Mm,
you can niche down there. From there, you can keep adding more market to your audience. You get. So I always define two things. People look at target markets when it comes to starting up a brand, which is the number building on number two mistakes, as opposed to looking at the target audience. Okay, you look at your market. You know what? Yes, I want to target women. I want to target working class women. Now, what sort of working class women do I want to target? Like, what's
mm,
their? Are they mothers, millennial
mm,
mothers? Are they okay? Older mothers, maybe 40 to 50, or even grandmothers. The more deliberate you become, the more you can fine tune your messaging to get those people with very, very little amount of funds, because yes, you've seen your target, you're pointing at them, and you're using the right messaging to get them. So that's number two mistake, which is mass markets
mm.
for everybody and for everybody and for nobody and for everybody in Buhari's word. Anyways, that is that.
That's a good one.
Number
So,
three mistake. Okay, no. Should I continue or you want to?
yes, I would like to
Yeah.
jump in at this point.
Okay,
So
no
the first
problem.
thing you
Please do.
mentioned is that people imitate. I mean, it happens with businesses sometimes. Where you're trying to stay above competition or where you're trying
Mhm,
to level up, you end
mhm,
up copying exactly what other brands are doing.
mhm,
Especially with this current trend, and we've been seeing a lot of trends of
mhm,
companies that already exist in the US
mhm,
or in the
mhm,
UK or in Asia. Then
mhm,
somebody in Nigeria or in Africa will not say, "Oh, I want to make a piece of that." There's
mhm.
nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing
But
wron. But
if you're
continue.
copying it 100%, everything they are doing, the color of their logo, the text on their website, the brand tone, the way the American company jokes,
Spot on. Mm,
big problem, big problem. I think I
yes.
learned that thing from you about brand voice and all of that. Like
Yes.
you can't
Yeah.
copy another brand's
No, you can't.
template 100%
Mm,
because
you
what
can't.
your market requires is completely different. So that's a very
Mhm.
amazing point. And the
Yeah.
second thing is
Thank you.
about niching down. A lot of people, because in Nigeria, business can be
Hmm.
hard. So if
It
you're
is.
saying, okay, I'm trying to make money at the beginning, for most businesses, they always try to do everything and serve
Mm-hmm.
everybody. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you end up shooting yourself in the foot because
Mm-hmm.
it requires a very large budget. Dangote's budget,
Mm-hmm.
like to reach a very wide audience, mass
Yeah.
market. You're not selling close up. It's not gonna appeal to everybody. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
yeah, great point. So what other mistakes have you seen? Just one more mistake. What other mistake have
Okay.
you seen that small businesses or startups make when they're trying to position their brand?
Okay. So one of the mistake is thinking a logo and color scheme is branding. Mm. Yes,
Gang, gang.
that is a generic one. Okay, and I know Tolani knows that. And I bring this scenario a lot. Having a logo, having beautiful aesthetics on your page, having color scheme, blue, white, blue, or green, white, green, is not branding. It is
Hmm.
just a fraction of brand positioning. Like when I mean a fraction, maybe you are looking, let's use ratio, you have 100%. That is
Hmm.
just basically 25% of branding and brand
Wow.
positioning. Now, before you do your identity, I understand that when you want to start your business, you might not be able to afford to do a thorough brand development. That is fine. I don't even advise people or companies that are starting up to do thorough brand development. It's going to be waste of resources. So what you can do is before you design your logo or color scheme or whatever, look at your target. At least you need to have some basic things. Number one, okay, who am I targeting? After you've niched down, okay, these are the people that I'm targeting. Okay, how do they think? What do they like? What do
Hmm.
they listen to? What's their lifestyle like? Do they go to church? Like so many things about their being. You need to put that into consideration when you're branding. So once you've gotten all that, then you'll be like, okay, what are the brands these people are affiliated with? Where do they okay, let's even use a fashion brand as an example. Or yeah. So if using a fashion brand, where do they shop? Who do they shop from currently, both home and abroad? A lot of research has to go into it because you can't, if you're targeting the same customer that buys a lot of Zara products, you can't you can't come as a Dior or Gucci and say you want to target the same person. Yes, they might have one or two luxury brand products in their wardrobe, but it's not their primary clothing option. It's not something they buy every other day. So basically,
Hmm.
since they're lovers of Zara, for instance, okay, you know what? Let's use Zara. What other brands are like Zara? Put them out there. Okay, so that means my customers love this sort of aesthetics. Minimal, not so colorful,
Hmm.
neutral colors. So
Neutral,
many things you can use to
minimalist
inform.
aesthetic.
Exactly. And this is just one brand you are using as an example here. So once you have that, you then come up with, okay, you come up with the flimsiest of brand strategies. Now, this advice is for someone just starting. Someone just starting year one is different from what someone needs at year 5 or year 3 or even year 4. So for year one, okay, the flimsiest of brand strategy. Okay, this is our brand story. Hopefully this story would appeal to the person that shops from Zara. This is our vision. This is our personality. This is how we would like to talk. This is how we would like to speak. This is our values. Okay, maybe someone that shops from Zara, for instance, love sustainability. It can be anything. So once you've done that, you have your brand strategy in place, then you now
Hmm.
use that to inform your identity. Since we are doing our strategy talk now, Dolani, you see that I've mentioned minimalism a lot because of the clients that love Zara. So in that case, your logo won't be orange, blue, and red joined together. No, since you get, so can you see how that has informed the kind of
Yes.
identity, look, and feel your brand will have? It's a different case if you are targeting clients that love to shop from maybe a lot of Ankara brands, for instance, that love
Yeah.
colors, prints. Your logo and color scheme can be bright and vibrant because you're targeting majorly people who shop from that place. So can you see how your target
Yes.
audience informs your strategy and your identity? So that is how brand owners should be looking at branding, which is once you look at it that way,
Hmm.
that you already have 65% of your branding mapped out. Then the remaining chunk of the
Hmm.
percentage is your communication. Like I always say, you can have the best brand on paper, you can have the best plan, but execution is everything. If you don't
Yeah.
execute, if your messaging isn't right, if your communication isn't appealing to that person that loves Zara, you have wasted your time and effort doing stuff. And it's okay not to get it from the first time. It takes a while. It takes research. It takes analytics. Okay, it takes data. You know what? These people like this kind of tone I'm using. It's still the same tone, but you know what? Let me turn it the other way. Let me add a bit of sarcasm into it. Do you get what I mean? So there's a lot of
Yep.
trial and error when it comes to execution. So at the end of the day, maybe at the end of a month, you say, okay, you know what? These are the posts people actually relate with the most. You know what? Let's use this finally as our brand voice or brand tone. So that is the final mistake I would say. Logo and color scheme isn't branding or brand positioning. It is just 25% of your brand positioning and branding as a whole. So yeah.
Thank you so much for that. That's so
Welcome.
important.
You're welcome.
There are a lot of, Canva experts out there. Some of them are watching this video right now. They have the whole brand manual on Canva. Everything. Don't worry. The logo is green.
That's good.
Okay,
That's
they
good.
will search for. Okay, what business are you starting? Hair business. You search for hair business on Canva. Just check all the logos. Carry one.
Honestly.
Put it out there. Say, branding done.
Yeah.
That is great for the start of your business. I agree with you 100%.
Exactly. You
I mean, at
know,
the beginning of your business, you might be trying to manage, the funds that
and
you
it's
have,
fine, you know.
fine. But as your business grows, your branding, your entire brand entity has to evolve,
Yeah.
for you to be able to, attract more clients, and also for you to attract, more sophisticated customers that you don't have to speak too much English to convince them. You know, when someone's trying to buy something from you and they're asking you questions. You know, like,
Yeah.
I know it is because they're like, oh, what do you really do? They want to buy from me, but they're still asking, what is it that you are really doing? I think that one of the reasons why that happens is because the branding is not it's not syncing with the ideal customer, and that's
Yes,
a
with the
problem.
customer. Mhm.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
problem.
you're typically right.
Um,
And you know what? To add to what I've said, I'm not going to just give it to the fashion people. A lot of startups do that too, you know.
mhm,
And in fact, I think they are most guilty in the sense that I see a startup pitch deck. I see the money they want, the chunk of the money, marketing. You can't find branding anywhere, and these people just have logo and color. And I'm like, so how are you speaking to your customer? What's the plan? What's the communication plan? Like, how they're like, oh, once we just start doing ads. Okay, you want to start doing ads. How do you want to coin the message to start doing the ads? This is just going to be, oh, we have this product. Do you get what I mean? A lot of
mhm,
startups in fact, I think they make the mistake more because they even have the opportunity to be the best we have now because they have more opportunity to get funding, but
mm.
still they put everything to tech, product development and
Product
marketing as opposed to
development, and that's
branding being
understandable. But
good.
then, how do you connect
And
with
that's
your
understandable.
audience?
So that is
That
I don't
is
want to put old
I always
fashioned
said
brand
this
owners.
Canva experts are watching. It's not fair. Like,
No,
it's the same for
honestly, it's
me.
not.
I mean, it's fine at the beginning of your business, but
Yes.
at a point, you
Mm,
have to have a serious conversation with yourself. Like, you're
yes.
going to start
Yes,
taking
you do.
your business seriously.
Mm,
So
you do.
shade, but no shade. So
Yeah. With love,
alright,
honestly.
so
Trust me, I've been there before, so I know. I understand. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, no worries. So my next question is this: now that we've discussed, niching down and having a
Mhm.
360 brand entity
Mhm.
and all of that, how can businesses stand up from competitors while still maintaining their unique brand? Particularly like this question because you mentioned
Okay.
when you talk about fashion, when you
Mhm.
give the example of the fashion business, if you look at
Mhm.
the trends today, there's a lot of
Mhm.
minimalism trends that
Mhm.
I've been seeing everywhere, and
Mhm.
honestly it just looks like everybody's wearing the same thing.
Yeah. Mhm.
And that
You're
to
correct.
me, no, I mean, it's trends, but that to me is not style.
Mhm.
Me,
Mhm.
I'm a bigger fan of style over
Yes.
fashion. So I
Mhm.
believe, well, not like I believe, what I'm seeing, what trends I'm seeing now, a lot of people are doing that minimalism trends, even with
You're
the
right.
big brands, the fashion houses,
Mhm.
Burberry, Chanel. Well, Chanel's logo has always
Mhm.
been black and white, but
Yes, they
you
have.
see a lot of trends where even their fonts, everybody's
Mhm.
font is the same now. And
Yes, you're right.
it's, to be honest, it gives me cause for concern, like,
Mhm.
what's going on? Like, are the robots
Mhm.
taking over? So, like,
You're
it's just,
completely right.
I'm seeing the trend everywhere. Like, okay,
Mhm.
we understand,
Mhm.
okay, your competitors are doing this, but you want to compete, but then it looks
Okay.
like everyone is blending in. And not
Yes.
just fashion, even with tech startups, even with social media,
True.
everything. I'm seeing that over and over again. So, how can businesses start up how can businesses stand out rather from
Okay.
competitors while maintaining their unique brand?
Okay. This is a very interesting question
I love.
because I mean I've been talking about it more lately on my page. Okay, so and you're absolutely right. Now, um, the first step to take is research. A lot of people undermine research. They people an average person's research, and this is speaking from experience that I've come across. I'm not generalizing here. If I ask them, have they done research? They'll be like, oh, yes, I've looked at this brand on Instagram. This is what I've noticed about them. That is not research. That is glancing through someone's page, you know. So now what you can do if you're in that kind of competitive industry, you put, I have a formula that I use. You put your direct, you have primary, secondary, and tertiary competitors. You put your
Yeah.
direct, that's primary competitors, let's say on an Excel table, for instance, you
Mm,
have them there. You put your secondary and tertiary competitors, you can put them there. You can put your aspirational brands. I don't see them as competitors. I see them as people that, I mean, they are basically doing the same. Maybe your clients are buying from them, but you can't compete with them because they are bigger. You understand?
mm,
So they are more aspirational brands. You put them on the table. Now, you don't just look at the brand side of things alone. You look at every single thing in this analysis. You start from product to branding to customer communication to website. There's so many metrics you can use. Let me give you an example. Using product. A lot of brands, these brands that are doing the same thing might actually on the exterior, it might look like they're doing the same thing, but guess what? When you eventually buy their product, you might spot a difference. Now, ask me what the difference can be. It can be the material of fabrics you used. Now, material of fabrics, for instance, is something that a lot of people don't even use for marketing, and it's a big deal. Like for me, I rarely buy outfits from or clothes from Instagram because I'm extremely particular about fabrics. I see a
mm,
beautiful design on Instagram, but most times when I buy it, the fabric is almost like maybe either very tough or very sheer. I need something breathable. I'm particular. And I'm sure there are other clients like me out there that are extremely particular about fabric. So imagine a brand saying that, okay, you know what? There's no brand out of all this minimalism brand talking about how
mm.
sheer, how breathable their fabrics is after they've come to analyze all their products across all their communication platform. You know what? Let's take that angle. Let's talk about products. Let's talk about the type of cotton used and how breathable cotton touches my skin, how it feels when it touches your skin after a sunny day when you're sweating, but still your clothes are still, or your dresses are still very fresh. You get what I mean? Now, have
Yes.
you seen that type of angle before? Imagine, picture a campaign about the essence of breathable fabrics on your skin. Do you get what I mean? So that's
Mm-hmm.
one way of looking at things using the product perspective. For the branding perspective, or rather the messaging perspective. Now, see, if you look at all the minimalist brands, you just say, oh my God, they're all so semi-formal in terms of their tone and personality. You know what? Let me be bitchy. Pardon my word. This is just me trying to look for, you understand? Let me be bitchy, like, yo, I'm like, yo, girls, obviously it has to match your target
Yes, I
audience. So
agree
it's
with
very
you. I
important.
understand
You
what
get
you're
if you're
saying.
targeting the shiniquas and you can decide to speak
Exactly.
like them. Your brand is still minimalistic in identity, but your tone and personality is totally different. And guess what?
Mm.
You would understand how relatable your brand is. Like you would see magic because people would feel like they're talking to their sisters. Oh, babe, like this dress is amazing. A typical example, Fenty Beauty or
Yeah.
the Fenty skincare. Those
Fancy
folks,
brands.
the Fenty brand in general, they they came with so many differentiating factors, and identity is only a part of it. When I mean identity, I'm talking about the colors, tone. No, they came from a messaging perspective, which is inclusivity, by providing about 40 to 50 different shades of foundation, first of
Foundation.
its kind. They've broken the market by doing that. Number one, they didn't just stop there. The brand speaks like Rihanna. Yo, bitch, yo, fam, you get, and people love Rihanna. People can relate, and that's their own target. That's their primary target audience. Would someone
Yes.
like me buy from Fenty? Yes. Do I necessarily
Identify as bad bitch.
identify with how they speak? No, that makes me maybe their secondary target market. You understand? But
Yes.
focus on your primary target audience. That way, others can decide to buy, but you know that your primary TA is really the ones that is giving you your cash, and that's another way you can look at things. So there's so many metrics you can use. That is way beyond what you're seeing. It can be consumer experience. Okay, once someone orders from you now, once you order from your competitors, what is the experience like? Do they just order then just wait 7 days and the order gets to them? What happens between day 0 and day 7? Are they getting some sort of feel about what the brand is? What if you as a brand decides to, do a 3-day campaign between day 0 of them ordering, or day 1 and day 7, telling them about who your brand is, what your brand stands for, and just giving them product styling options via their email. There's so many things that can be done. Can you see? Is that not
Yeah,
different, Tolani? So
massive
it
difference.
is. There's so many ways, and if you go to my page, I talk about this a lot. And yeah, it's we can't exhaust all the options today, but I hope I've been able to point at
You
one or
you have
two
done more
things.
than enough. In
Yeah,
fact, this is I feel like it's a consulting
yeah.
session. Shameless plug. I've plugged your Instagram page. So Mrs. Kemi's Instagram page is at
Mm,
your brand exec on Instagram. So go and check that. They share some really nice tips
yeah.
that you can,
Tolani,
just pick up and implement in your business as well.
mm.
So yeah,
For the
I
record,
like
I'm
that you've
Kemi,
already
not
started
Mrs.
giving
Kemi.
examples. Because my next question, what do you say?
I am Kemi, not Mrs. Kemi, please. I'm Mrs. Kemi, but that's too formal. Just call me
I'm
Kemi.
sorry, ma. This is your brand. Your
It's fine.
brand is very, rich auntie. So I'm
Wow.
addressing you as you're giving it to me.
Yeah. Okay. As you were
Anyway,
saying.
I like that you give the example of Fenty Beauty because I don't
Mm-hmm.
think I've not like I don't even in that there's a skincare trend now. Everybody's launching skincare
Mm-hmm.
business. Any small
Oh,
celebrity can they've launched skincare business. They're saying,
you understand.
and it's not even just
Mm-hmm.
Nigerian celebrities. It's a
Mm-hmm.
global thing. Like
It's a
even I
global
think
thing. Yes.
either Forbes or Bloomberg did a research on it. They're like almost
Mm-hmm.
100 celebrities have launched skincare
Wow.
brands
I'm not
in the past
surprised.
2 years.
Mm,
Everybody's
I'm not
copying
surprised
Rihanna.
at all.
Why are you
Ah,
copying
they've
my
missed it.
babe? They've missed it because
They've missed it.
Rihanna
Mm-hmm.
perfected that. I don't know who advised her. I want to give them their accolades. They perfected that branding, that
Mm,
owning,
they
who
did it.
you are, your
Yep.
individuality,
Yep.
but yet still being part of everybody, still feeling like a family. And
Mm-hmm.
they, executed it so beautifully that I don't think anybody can
Exactly.
touch that level of execution when it comes
You're right.
to skincare or
Mm-hmm.
beauty or even like a celebrity-led brand. It was
Mm-hmm.
beautifully done. I don't think anybody's
It
touching
was.
Rihanna for the next
I don't.
1 to 2
Nobody
years
can
in
touch
that
her.
area.
They can only copy.
So
And to just buttress what you've said, that is the advantage of brand positioning. Because guess what? People will do what you're doing. Trust me. If you're good, they will copy you. But because you've already cemented, you started that position. You don't even have to start it. Maybe you executed it so well and brilliantly.
mhm,
When they think of something like that, is your brand that pops up in their head, not the people that are trying
thank
to
you.
copy. Now, in
Mhm.
a nutshell, that is the beauty of brand positioning. You can continue, Tolani.
Thank you, Ma. That is it. Like honestly, people can copy you, but they're not you. They don't have the source. So I always say this
Yeah.
thing to people when maybe okay someone forwards a brand to me like these people are copying what you are doing. I'm like let them
Mm.
copy. It's okay. Like there's
Let
space
them
for
copy
everybody.
you.
The
Let them,
sky is large enough. But the thing is that
honestly.
nobody can do it the way you do. Nobody can execute the way you execute. And
Mhm.
you are the first to cement that brand image or brand perception in people's minds. So nobody can replace you. So your competitors can
Yeah.
only try, you know,
Mhm.
and try they will.
They
Yes, and
will. They will.
Fenty's brand personality is really and it promotes inclusivity at every turn. 100%
Yeah.
correct. Thank you for that.
You're
Um,
welcome.
as you said, luxury brands to establishing makeup lines. Valentino Hermes.
Mhm.
Yes, I've been seeing
Exactly.
that. Um, I saw one video the other
Yeah.
day. I'm counting down to when I'll buy my Birkin. I saw a video the other day. Someone was trying to buy a Birkin. They were telling the person must buy Hermes foundation, and the girl was like,
Are
she
you
does not
serious?
want. Yeah, like Hermes
Wow.
makeup. Yeah, no, it's a thing in luxury fashion world. If you want to buy a Birkin,
Hmm.
when you go to the store, the Birkin is there. You're looking at the Birkin. That's another crazy example of brand positioning. The Birkin bag is in the
Mhm.
Hermes store. You are looking at
Mhm.
it in the show glass, but they will tell you that it's not available. And you're looking at
Wow.
it, but the thing is not
Yeah.
available. That there's a wait
Mhm.
list. So would you like to buy something else? So they call that
Mhm.
Hermes
It's
waiting.
to
Like
it's to it's to control
when
it's to
you
control demand. There's a
the bag is
strategy
available.
also.
I don't know why
Yeah.
they're creating
Yeah.
fake
Mhm.
demand and supply. The bag is available in stores, but they'll say no, it's not available. You're looking at it right there. They'll say no, it's not available. So they do something called brand baiting. They'll tell you buy plates, buy this, buy shoe, and etc. Miss Kemi's Miss Kemi's internet is a bit shaky, but nonetheless, like I was saying, so we branding. Are you back? I think we lost you for a minute.
I'm back. Yeah, can you hear
Okay,
me?
brilliant.
Hmm?
Yes, thank
Yes.
you.
Okay. Hmm.
Brilliant. So, like I said, we Hermes, Hermes is probably one of the ultimate examples of a brand that cemented their
Yeah.
position. So, like luxury brands,
Yes, they have.
like Hermes, the item is available in store, but they're trying to get you to buy other things because you are trying to, attain a status by
Yes.
owning
Yes. Yeah.
one of their other items that it makes you look
Mm-hmm.
like you're a very rich person.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
oh
Yeah,
well,
you're
good
right.
point. So now that we're talking about different brands, can you give us some examples of successful brand positioning that you as a brand strategist have used to help startups, businesses gain a competitive advantage?
Just can you say, repeat the question?
Yeah, I know I was very fast. Can you give us
Yeah.
examples of successful brand positioning strategies that you've used,
Okay.
to help your
Okay.
clients, startups that you've worked
Okay.
with,
Okay.
businesses
Uh-huh.
that you've worked
Okay.
with to gain a competitive advantage?
Okay. Okay. So I'll speak about one that I'm so proud of. Use and Tech. I'm sure you're familiar with that brand.
Yeah, second
Oh
time I'm
my God,
hearing
it
that name
was a
today.
delight. Yeah. It was a delight working for and with them. So one of the strategies we used, their brand was a very peculiar kind because they're named Ills and Tech. When you think of Ills and Tech, what comes to your head? Women, oh, women. But
Mhm.
funny enough, research showed that 30% of their clients are men. So we're like, okay, so this branding, even if it's women outside, we need to find a way to include men. So in their
Mm,
messaging and positioning, all across all their websites, anytime they put something related to women, they always emphasize how it's also inclusive of men. So you see
mm,
that everywhere, at every corner of their website. Oh yes, this is for women because women are, yeah, underserved, blah blah blah. But we are open. We have our arms open wide for men also because we understand that it's not also easy. You get, so the messaging was tailored more to give women the upper edge, but also inclusive of men. And that was one of the strategies we've used that has actually increased their men sign up rates by another 20% since they did their branding. You know,
wow.
that's number one strategy. Number two strategy we used for them was the fact that their colors, their identity in general is not your stereotypical tech identity.
Mm-hmm.
You won't see it wasn't blue. It was okay because the women they were more associated with women. We decided to make it a bit of fun, add a bit of element of fun to it by adding yellow and working with a bit of deep green. What does that mean? That means that you won't, when you're comparing a lot of ed tech companies and you put Hills and Tech beside them, Hills and Tech will instantly stand out because it's not blue
Yep.
and white. It's not black and white. There's no rule saying, I understand the old branding of tech companies, which is meant to be, yes, a bit of futuristic, minimal. Yes, you can also be minimal without using black and white and blue and white. There's so many other colors you can use that can also give you the minimal futuristic identity that people always associate with tech. So
Mm,
we did that, and instantly when you see an Use and Tech ad or content, it's immediately catchy because you see all the colors, you see the vibrancy, and you can still relate to the message. And those are the two things we've used for them today. I mean, one of the two many positioning strategies we've used for them that has actually made them one of the most successful
ed
ed
tech
tech
companies in
companies in
Nigeria.
Nigeria in the space of 2.5 years, basically. And there
Amazing.
is more exactly. And the third thing they did was after we even did all the positioning strategies, the execution was on fire. They didn't sleep. They were relentless. And that's what I always tell people. Yes, we've done your branding all well and good, but are you ready to execute? Are you ready to put in the sweat? Because it's from this execution that you actually bear your fruit. And they were consistent all through. So meaning, because they had brand structure already, before they post anything, it must always be consistent to what they have in their brand Bible, the colors, the logo. Trust me, it took a while before we got there. It took a while with the team. But that branding, like I always say, is a process. It's not just, because I've branded my business on paper, I'm done with branding. No. Every content you put is branding.
Hmm.
Every person, guest speaker you bring on your panel is branding. every action or inaction is branding. Branding is embedded in every fiber of your company, internally and externally. In fact, from internally, it actually comes externally. So it is not just, oh, how beautiful or how great the brand looks outside. It's everything's intertwined. It's like a DNA of marketing, it's a DNA of
I
business
like that word,
development. It's
DNA.
everywhere. Yes. So that is some of the strategies we've used for Eels and Tech. For Aspen, let me say that's my footwear brand. In fact, it was
I think Caspen is beyond a footwear brand now.
it is beyond a footwear brand, honestly. To the point where I'll give you this. We took a break for a year. 'Cause we took a break for a year to reevaluate things. And during that break, I kid you not, Tolani, we won first best fashion brand in Nigeria. And I'm like, because I knew that yes, we deserved it, but I was like, that is the power of brand position. Even when you're not doing anything outside, people are voting for you. Your customers are like, oh yes, we want this brand. Yes, we like them. And I was shocked that a lot of our customers nominated us because even though we're not active on social media, people
Yeah.
were ordering at the back end. They were still getting exceptional service. If they have return issues, they were still getting it, and getting replacement. It was all so smooth sailing at the back end, but nothing was going on the front end, the social media. So people might think that, maybe they're not in business, but
Actually, I
obviously
remember,
you
when you're not
remember.
posting on social media, it's something I take personally.
Exactly,
If I know you and I know
exactly,
you're running a business, and I say you're not posting, I'm going to message you like, what are you doing? Why are you not posting?
exactly.
You
Uh,
know me for
uh,
that. I remember that period that I did reach out.
yeah,
Kemi,
yeah.
I have
So
not seen any post.
I know, right? So for us, one of the strategies we used when we rebranded fully was we saw in my industry, where I'm one of the
Mm,
pioneers of the industry, it was a lot of people were doing average things, average quality, average pictures, average storytelling.
mm.
Everything was just, there was not no websites, zero to no website or average websites. I decided there were so many gaps. I just picked like five that we could use out of the 100 I noticed. We went all out on product quality. We went all out on customer experience, on our packaging. In fact, I think we were one of the first set of brands who started using velvet bags for our packaging. Till today,
Wow.
clients that have bought stuff from us for 3 years ago, they were like, I still take my bags to the airport
I still have the
and I
bag.
still pack my sandals. You understand? Exactly. And before other brands started copying, our pictures were like very campaignish, always telling a story. So we actually just took like five things out of the 100 things we noticed. And in fact, today we've won so many awards, so many. It's just an auto
That's
run by itself
amazing.
because we have brand structure. So
Yeah.
and that's in fact, yeah. So that's so should I go on or I should stop?
No, you can't
I'm
go on.
working with
Don't
your time.
worry. Anyway,
Should I continue?
what you're saying is leading to my
Okay.
next question, and
Mm,
my next question is this. I like
okay,
that
good.
you've mentioned things with your experience, working on the brand strategy for Hills and Tech. Same with the brand strategy for Care Spend. That continuity is a very big part
Mhm,
of branding.
mhm.
Your brand's
Yeah,
essence
mm,
must be seamless all through all parts of the business, whether it's your social media or your
it must
website,
be.
whether it's
Mhm,
even the physical aspect of your
mhm,
brand. You
mhm,
mentioned the
mhm.
carrier bags that you use for the Kia Spen footwear. So the yes, what
Yes.
you've essentially said is that the brand essence is seamless all through, whether it's just the
Seamless all
photo
through.
shoots, choosing the model. I
Mm,
actually noticed that you're very particular about the way the models are selected and how it reflects across all parts of the business. So my next question is, in relation to what you've just said, how important
yes.
is it for a brand to have a clear and concise message that resonates with its audience, and how can businesses create one if they don't have a clear, concise message?
Okay, so how important is it for a brand to have a clear and concise message that resonates with its audience, and how can businesses create one? Okay, it is having a concise and clear message is the be all and end all. In fact, it's more important than having a logo. You can decide not to have a logo as a brand, but know that no, honestly, like it is. I feel logo is overrated. I won't lie. Let me give you an example. Let
Branding
me give you an
experts, you
example.
people.
Oh, let me give you an example. Piggy Vest, the brand we know so well, they have done branding exceptionally well. I don't know if you know any of
Hmm.
them. Please, you can give them their kudos. The way they speak, you can tell that their essence is putting customer first. If you go through their messages or their platform, there's one consistent feedback all through, which is customer service is exceptional. You can tell that they invested so much in ensuring that if you call them or make a complaint now, you get a solution in less than 24 hours. You can tell that they've invested in a lot of things to make that happen. A lot of feedback is, oh my God, exceptional customer service. We trust Piggy. There was one time PiggyVest even went down the server. They were like, we trust. People were like, we trust you guys. I was like, whoa,
Wow.
Nigerian
God
users that were
wins.
savages. Hey, God. I was like, no, that is amazing. So you can tell that they have invested so much in ensuring that their customer service is exceptional, to the point that even when they were at a very long downtime, customers were assured that their money was safe. You get. Now, PiggyVest as a brand, they've gone to do their homework. They know that there are big banks everywhere. There are others, what do we call this,
Ways of
tech arm
saving.
of things. Yeah, you understand. But what is that
Fintech.
general thing? Thank you, fintech. That's the word. What's that general thing that a lot of people complain about with banks? It's that customer service is horrible. You get it, got to do their homework. So you're like, okay, you know what? We are bringing an innovative solution. And at the same
Hmm.
time, what we use to back this innovation is we must ensure we always answer on time. If we're not answering on time, if we don't have a solution, we'll communicate and say, you know what, please give us extra time. People always think customer service is having solutions to every problem. No, it's just communication. Sorry,
Wow.
unfortunately, we don't have an answer now. Can you give us extra 1 day? Can you give us extra 1 year? Can you give us extra 1 decade? Honestly, like just be honest and tell them, and they would, so that's one. That's one. That to get to have a clear and concise message that resonates with your audience. Before you get to the point of having a clear message, first understand what the pain point is in your industry. What is the pain point? It might not even be a product-based pain point. It might be a marketing-based pain point. It might be a branding-based pain point. It might be a customer experience-based pain point. You get, so once you have the pain point, you know what? We are going to tie our messaging around this pain point. It's very important you tie your messaging around the pain point, not necessarily the features of your product. Features of your product can be secondary, but taking that pain away, when a customer sees your messaging and they're like, oh my God, that's true. I always have difficulties doing this and that, but these people are claiming they are taking the pain away. Okay, you know what? Let me learn more about your company. Then they will now see the features, which is like, oh, okay, perfect. They even have the features of what I'm getting already. So can you see where that comes in? So before you can have
Yep.
a concise message, ensure that it's around the pain point of your
Customers.
industry, what your industry giants are not paying attention to.
Hmm.
It can be as little as return policy. See, branding is it's not gang. It doesn't have to it doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It can be, you know what? A lot of Nigerian customers complain that they don't have a good return policy. First heading of your message, feel free to return, free return. In fact, we'll pick up. You don't have to work. Do you understand what I mean? First, free return. Okay, that means I can order. I mean, obviously, you would have to do your cost analysis to ensure that it's not going to, run you down for business and stuff
You would
like that.
actually
Just
be
giving you an
surprised
example.
that people return less when you say things like that, because then they'll trust you. You've positioned as your brand as a brand that
Exactly.
they can trust. Because if you put it, what that example you've said is very lovely, because if you put it out there that, okay, I'm a brand that sells mugs, but if you don't like the mug,
Uh-huh.
return the mug at
Uh-huh.
time, and they're like,
That
oh,
is
those
it.
guys are great, even if the
That
mug
is
is
it.
bad. If your brand is positioned so
Uh-huh.
uniquely that customers love you,
Uh-huh.
they probably won't return. They'll
That is
just
it.
take it as, "Mm, it's fine. I like those
That
guys.
is
They're
it.
cool. I
That is
want
it.
another one." Yeah, so
Uh-huh.
that's a very great
That is
example.
it.
Thank you for
And
that.
branding. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I'm
Let me
listening.
just
You
say
say
this
what?
last thing.
Carry on.
Branding does not have to be emotional all the time. You are and I
Mm,
always tell people, we are in a time zone now. We're in a time where a lot of customers can sift through the fluff. They can sift through
mm,
all the verbose words. Oh, we exquisite luxury, blah blah blah. Trust me, it doesn't mean anything to these people again. They just want their pain to be solved. If you're an aspirational brand or a brand that wants to sell a dream, you're keen to the pain point of the person who wants that dream. Like, oh, you know what, I want that dream bag, or I want that dream, or whatever. You get the pain point of that person and use it, and also still sell your lifestyle, the aspirational lifestyle that they want to them. You get. So yeah, it doesn't have to be anything too. It can be both functional and emotional intertwined. It doesn't have to be emotional alone or functional alone. So that's one other hack for branding you can use to get your messaging right. Yeah.
I love it. That's great. Thank you so much for that. I really like, how you put it that okay, it can be just a very small thing that
Mhm.
the giants of your industries are not doing, and you just look for that and say, okay, I want to make this my brand. I want to build my brand
Yeah.
around solving this
Mhm.
pain point for
Mhm.
customers, because you and the industry giants, you're sharing customers.
You
People
are.
that are buying KR Spen slippers, they are buying Gucci slippers. So might as
Honestly, they're
well
buying Hermes.
they're buying Hermes. So, it's still
Mhm.
going in the same wardrobe of the same
Yeah.
customer. So might as well
Mhm.
look at what other brands are doing and
Yeah.
how you can improve on that. So that's a very great point. Thank you for that. My next
You're
question is,
welcome.
how can startups evaluate their current brand positioning and improve it?
Oh, perfect. It's something I've mentioned before, but I'll mention it again. I would go more deeper into it. A brand evaluation, you need to have a series of metrics that you are
Yeah.
using. You know, you look at the product, you look at your product compared to other products. Look at your product features, look at your product updates. Okay, let's say I don't use a lot of what I like to use examples when I'm talking, so that way it can,
I love it. It
it
makes it
can
easier to
sink in
understand.
deeper. Oh, perfect. Oh no, okay. But what if the CEO is listening? Okay, you
The
know
team
what? I
needs to,
don't mean
you
any
should
harm, but
learn
this is
lessons and you should call me for your services.
so cheaper cash, cheaper cash versus what other maybe Flutterwave, Batter by Flutterwave, for instance, or something.
Yes.
I think they have,
Yes.
yes, let's use something like that. So now let's assume that they want to evaluate their brand positioning and improve it. First of all, I always you look at product, okay, in terms of product features and experience, what is compare Batter by Flutterwave and cheaper cash. What is the
Mm,
sign up? You can use metrics like, okay, sign up time, or what's the right word I would use in this case? The time it takes for you to create an account, an approved account. Flutterwave by Bata can be 3 days. Cheaper Cash can be 12 hours because of KYC. KYC is know your
yes.
customers. I know that know your customer part of registration can be very, very tedious.
Hmm.
So you can say, you know what, Cheaper Cash has more, is faster than Bata. Okay, as a company, if you're a Bata representative, you can be like, okay, what did they do to make their registration process fast? So that is one way of evaluation. You understand? So you look for how they did it or what you can do in your tech team, how you can increase or rather reduce the time. Then you go for that. That's number one. Number two, you can look at, okay, our customers, for instance, do we have what's our customers? Are our customers always angry or are they always complaining before they have a instance? Okay,
Mm,
let's say that your KYC takes about two days before approval. Do your
yeah.
customers or your potential customers know that it takes about 2 days, or you're always marketing to them? Use Bata by Flutterwave, use cheaper cash, and not even telling them a bit of what the
About
process
the
entails.
process.
Because you understand. So those I'll give you a typical example. When I started using cheaper cash few weeks back, and I was very impressed with how fast they were. And I even have I have a friend working there, and I had to give them the accolades. I was like, oh, I'm impressed. I've actually gotten a lot of apps, and this is the fastest I've gotten. And she was like, oh, you know what? I'll tell them, but there are still a lot of people that complain. I'm like, but do they understand what the KYC process entails? Why it needs to take time because they are doing security verifications and stuff like that. Is there not
Mm,
a way they can make it fun? Like for instance, while you're waiting for a security verification, you can be playing games on the apps. They might be like, okay, something that, no, they can be anything, honestly. So that way, instead of somebody getting angry, oh, okay, they say I can wait for 2 hours, but I can play this game to just wait. Honestly, it can be something as little as that. So you can evaluate it that way and say that, okay, you know what, this is our clients are currently pissed that they have to wait extra 2 days, while clients for this company are very, very excited that they don't have to wait. So that means our brand positioning is lacking in this particular aspect. You know what? Let's look for a way to also keep customers engaged instead of closing our app completely and downloading another app. You get what I mean? So that's
Yes.
another way. So there's so many ways. Using the metrics I've spoken about, it can be reviews. You can look at reviews of all the companies in your industry. What are people saying?
Reviews.
You know, what are people complaining about the most? You know, okay, so what are they saying about your own company? What are the reviews saying about your company? Based on the reviews, you can see that, oh, this company is excellent. My company is very good. Another company is poor, or maybe my company is poor. This is what I have to do to become excellent. You get what I mean? So by that, you would see, if you don't evaluate your company with your competitors, you can never know where you stand. And I'm going to give this final example. Brand perception. People really don't know what others or customers think of their brands, and there are ways you can do it, or if they even recognize their brands, there are ways they can do it. Instead of engaging influencers solely for the purpose of promoting a product, why don't you engage influencers to take surveys? They should, for instance, put 5 logos or 5 messaging, on a Word document, for instance, or on a graphics, and say, okay, if you have a payment problem, what logo comes to mind? You get what I mean? So that way you see that when you get the result of that survey, oh my God, our clients are going to our competitors when they have this problem. That means we are lacking with this particular feature of our product. We need to up our game so that way they'll recognize that we have that feature, as opposed to them going to our competitors. You can analyze your brand in so many ways, to evaluate your positioning. And it starts from putting your brand side by side with your primary, secondary, and tertiary competitors, and using certain different metrics, from product to business to customer experience to UI, UX to feedback, that's reviews, to product updates, how frequent an update is done. You can use different metrics to see where you stand in your industry and also how customers perceive you. So hope I have been able to answer that question.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. That has been so insightful. Like, you really shared a lot of tips. I feel like this should have been a paid session. Like, you shared a lot of insights and all of
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you so much, Kemi.
You're welcome.
So I'm gonna open the comments up for
Okay.
questions. A lot of people have left nice comments already. Someone said
Okay.
that it has been a very insightful and really mind-opening session. And a lot of people said the session was fire, very
Oh, wow.
interactive session.
Just even
So
seeing the
yeah,
comment.
good. Yeah, you can't see the comments.
I'm just seeing. I didn't even know people were commenting. Oh, I'm seeing it now.
You were just going, you're just giving us. Anyway, so I mean, if anyone has questions, they can share. Anita says, don't neglect your brand positioning and messaging. Thank you so much for that. I think people have learned a lot. If there are
Okay.
any questions, they'll share them in the comment section.
Good.
But for you, I would say, okay, my question
Okay.
I've asked all the questions that we have.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to ask you, what is your great one, Mrs. Kemi? Mrs. Kemi says
Thank
you should not
you.
call her Mrs. Kemi. Okay. Her name is just Kemi. She's a cool auntie. Okay, so my question is this: what is the one brand to you that is the ultimate definition of great, excellent, perfect
Oof,
brand positioning, that
jeez, that is.
competitor come, competitor go, soldier come, soldier
Hmm,
go, this brand
hmm,
is standing gidigba
hmm.
forever? What is the one brand that just
Okay.
comes to mind? I have a
Hmm.
brand in mind. I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna give you a spoon.
Okay. I would
But I want to
say
hear
this.
your own
Hmm.
brand.
Okay. I have a brand in mind, but let me first put some disclaimers. Now, a lot of brands are doing excellently well. So
Mm.
it's hard. That question is very hard, but I would say this brand based on how much I've done my research in the industry and, the analysis I've done in the past for clients and how they've stood out to me. Shopify. I know it's weird. I know you don't expect that. I know.
Oh,
I
sorry, I'm
know.
so shocked.
I know.
I'm flabbergasted.
Shopify. I know.
Shopify?
Shopify. Okay, so in different industry, yeah, Shopify for e-commerce, because Shopify came and literally turned the industry upside down when the web started, when real e-commerce started. Shopify made it extremely simplified to, it's extremely simple, pardon me, to get your product from one place to another country. For other platforms, it was so complicated in the sense that,
Mm.
okay, either your page loads, your page speed is extremely slow, or your um your SEO, you have to do a lot of work for SEO. Shopify has everything inbuilt. But guess what? They didn't really position around that. This is me just talking as a professional. Do you know what they positioned as? They are literally they positioned as the number one assistant to business owners. Like, they carry business owners on their head
Yep,
like
they
this.
do.
They're always telling the stories of business owners, featuring Black founders, featuring Hispanic founders, whatever, like as a founder or business owner, and mostly small business owners. You don't see
Yeah.
them showing Kylie Kardashian, that is extremely established already. You
Kylie
can see they
Jenner.
show more. Yeah,
Kardashian. What do you know?
yeah, yeah. They show small businesses, very small, they're just starting out, they're not even up to 10 years, and they give them the spotlight. They market their products by telling their stories,
That's very
and for
strategic.
me, that is their essence, is basically shedding the spotlight on founders to show how brilliant what they do is. And that for me is the core of their brand. And
Mm.
it literally shows across every every area, both from a product perspective, to messaging perspective, to customer experience perspective. Customer experience in the sense that if you have a complaint on Shopify, like in less than 20 minutes is solved. Everything is just tight knit, and that's extremely difficult to get. And actually, as a big company where you have so many branches, it is very hard to, sometimes you lose sight of that tiny part, that's are basically pain points for consumers. So yeah, I'll say
Yes.
Shopify because of how well they spotlight
They are very
small
connected to
brands.
their customers,
Yeah,
even as big as they are, and that
yes,
is the ultimate
exactly. Yeah,
branding message you can send across. That no matter how small you
yes.
are, you matter to us
Mm-hmm,
as a
mm-hmm.
customer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I see the appeal now. Like as in why
Yeah,
you see Shopify, I see the
yeah,
appeal.
yeah.
For me,
Let me add something before you continue. When I give
okay,
branding examples, I refrain from saying the popular things everybody's used to on the internet, which is Coca-Cola, Nike, and I'm like, you guys can't be using this kind of brand.
I
Yes,
don't like
a lot
Coca-Cola.
of branding people, Coca-Cola, Nike, the big brands that have been around in the 18th centuries, or when our great grandfather was alive. And I'm like, those people started when there was nothing. So you can't really compare when you're comparing brands and teaching people about branding. You can't use those brands as example because they have money to play with. Yes, their messaging is right, everything is okay, but it took them how many years, how many decades to figure it out? So I always like to use brands that are
Ah,
established
you
from
are
like,
this thing you've said. You spoilt my own example. Oh, Jesus. Ah,
sorry,
you spoilt
I'm
my example with
sorry,
this thing you just said. Though I was going
I'm
to say
sorry.
Apple.
No, yeah, you always say Apple. Um,
I was going to
for
say
me, yeah,
Apple.
Apple is still one of those brands that has been,
I
which is
honestly
no, it
feel like
doesn't
Apple,
negate it.
they've
Mm,
brainwashed us. Like
exactly. I
it's
know.
like
They
they've
watched
just
you. I'm not part of the Apple people.
that was why I was going to use it as an example because I know that Kemi doesn't like Apple products personally, and I don't know
I have
why.
Apple
And I,
products.
when you make your point about why Apple is not a great brand or what, not like
Mhm.
brand positioning, but like the
No,
product.
I
Like okay, you
mm-hmm,
don't like iPhone, you're a
mm-hmm,
Samsung person. When you make your point that oh, you're a
mm-hmm,
Samsung person, you prefer
mm-hmm,
Samsung camera is better, Samsung is the same thing that I get it, but
mm-hmm.
Apple has built their brand in such a way that I can sit down with you and argue for 1 hour. Like
I
I'm
know.
not a Apple fan girl or Apple fanboy, whatever they call them, but I'm such a like I'm not a loyalist or anything, but the way
Mm,
the brand is so
I know.
strong. Their brand
Of course,
image,
no, they've
perception,
built a
the
great
essence.
brand.
I'm ready to sit down and argue and say, no, Apple is the greatest product in the world. Do you
It's no,
understand?
of course. Of course. In fact, they can be termed as one of the greatest. I'm not arguing that. Not that I didn't say Apple or the brands that have been around for decades or centuries are not great. No, I can see beneath the fluff. You
Hmm.
as a strategist, I know what they are doing. I know how they are brainwashing all of you. So I can see it. I know that it is not really you get. So I'm not
I
I'm not
understand.
your typical audience. You get. So I'm using brands that the example I gave of Spotify is the sense that even if I'm aware that yes, it's still positioning, it's still deliberate, there is just something very authentic about them. That I don't get I rarely get in a lot of brands. A lot of brands will say, oh, we're inclusive. Yes, equality, this, that, just using buzzwords. But at the core of their company, they don't even do all those things. And for me, it takes away from what you're selling in the first place. Yeah.
100%. I agree. I agree with you. Thank you for that. So we have
So
a
Apple is
question.
great.
Apple is the best. Not just great.
No problem. I'm not arguing. It's fine.
Okay, so we have one question. I'm just going to take this question and then round up. It's a great. I like the way the person
Mhm,
framed it. Thank you so much, Dare, for this question. Any words or motivation for startups that want to grow big and get to that top
mhm,
level? Also, can we reach out for
mhm,
your services?
mhm.
Sorry, before we answer that question, somebody has agreed
Yeah.
with me.
I
Apple
know.
Life is
I
just
knew you were going to see that
thank
comment.
you, Femi. You are a
No.
great
That,
person for staying
Maybe
this
we are not
question.
asking you, but I understand. I can agree with you.
Apple is the best brand in the world. Thank you. So back to the question. So any words of motivation
Mhm.
for startups that want to be big and get to the top level?
Mm.
Tell us, and then
Hmm.
plug your services. Where can our audience find you on the internet?
Okay. Okay. So words of motivation is when you're building your startup, a lot of this is from experience again, like that I'm speaking about. A lot of business founders get lost in their product development. This is something I've
Hmm.
experienced times without number. They get lost in it. They develop the best product. Oh yes, our product is this, that, bish. I don't mind, but they don't. They forget one thing: the person they are selling it to. Do you understand? They don't. What is if you want to grow a big startup, or I don't like using the word big because it's quite generic. Let me use another word. An
Successful.
impactful or powerful brand. You get, yeah, impactful or powerful brand, successful brand. Find ways, put customers first. Find ways to get into the psyche, the psychology of your customers. That is where the secret is. How do they think? Why do you think they would pick my product over another product? What is their user experience like when they come to the platform? Is it too long? Is the decision time taking long? You need a lot of data,
Hmm.
obviously, to see what is going on at the back end of your product, but understand that build from a customer perspective. How does your product make them feel? When it's time for complaints, do you rectify it fast? So just put in just once. There's so many things I can say, but just put customers at the forefront of your product and startup, and be authentic in the sense that don't promise ice to an Eskimo. A lot of people do a lot of promises right now. Oh, we're this, we're that. We want to solve world hunger. We want to, no. If you are going to solve one hunger for one person, be honest. A lot of people love authenticity, and
Mm.
people don't use it, well enough. Be honest
Enough.
about your upgrade. You know what? We are having challenges at the moment. So just be honest, be authentic. Put customers first. Pay attention to your brand, even way before your marketing. Market with your brand in mind. Do
Mm.
brand marketing as opposed to marketing alone. Maybe that's a conversation for another time. Difference between brand marketing and marketing. Conversation for another
Mm.
time. And yes, the sky will basically be your limit. But I'm going to say one more thing that has nothing to do with what I've spoken today, and that for a startup company, the people, your investors matter a lot in the success of your brand. In the sense that don't because you want money, don't be desperate enough to put your dream at the bare hands of a person that is just a shark. Yeah, having a shark is good, but having an empathetic shark is best.
More
A
important.
lot of startup investors just want to turn around their money, just want to cash out. They are basically not even there for you, or their values don't align with yours. So you need to ensure that you define what you stand for. Your values very important, because it just takes one mistake for everything you've built to go to be sold. I'm not going to mention names for this one, but you understand. So ensure that you uphold your values. Your investors have your company values at
On
the
the
core
back
of
of
their
that.
heart. So meaning, even if you see a very enticing fund person that can fund your business, but you just feel off about them, there's just something that doesn't align with what your company stands for, please do not collect that money. I'm
Mm.
speaking from experience. I've seen companies fall by merging with the wrong startup investors. So that is an aside from what I've spoken about today. So yeah.
How can we reach out for your services?
Oh, reach out for my services. www.branddosh.com. That's my agency's website. You can also follow my personal page, Your Brand Exec, where in the link on my personal page you can see how different services you can plug into. Yeah, so branddosh.com for my agency, and for if you want to reach me personally, yes, just your brand exec on Instagram. Yeah.
Sorry, Branddosh.com. Is it double D or one D? So it's brand Dosh.
Double D. Yeah, correct. Branddosh.com. Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to round up, but we have one more question.
Okay. Oh, of course, of course.
How do you from a question from Nifemi? How do you measure
Okay.
customer experience? It's easier to keep a
Okay.
customer than to acquire new ones.
Oh,
Any
yes, it is.
suggestion or on tools or strategies to keep the feedback loop alive? Amazing question. Thank you for this, Nifemi.
Yes. Amazing
So
question, actually. So, okay. So the way you can measure customer experience is as simple as it sounds. Surveys are extremely powerful. Surveys, and there's an app called, apart from surveys, which is the traditional one we are experienced with, there is an app or a platform called Hotjar. I don't know if you're familiar with
Oh
Hotjar.
yes,
You know,
yes.
so with Hotjar, you can literally see how your consumers move around your website. You know, you can get a feel of their experience, what is making them go to a certain page as opposed to another page. And there's so many tools like that, like Hotjar, that you can use. You can just Google Hotjar and competitors and see which one of their price points fits your budget. You know, but let's go back to the traditional sense where you don't have to spend a lot of money. Surveys are very powerful. You can do surveys. Now, surveys are not just type any questions and put it out there. Type questions based on what the output you want to get. If you're measuring, okay, customer experience from, let's say, for a particular feature, for instance, you know, for a particular feature of your product that is really, really used, you can say, okay, you know what is your experience like using these features? You know, how do you feel? How do you think we can be better? Or have you used any other tool that is better? Because you'll be surprised. Some customers use two different service providers for just to get one what's the word, to solve a pain point. They have two options because they're always like, you know what, this option might not be the best for this, or that option might not give me what I want. So
Yes.
do feedback as regularly as you can. Surveys, throw it out there. Give people, okay, you know what, for taking up the surveys, you get 50% off our product, you get 20% off our product. Have a, like you said, feedback loop system where every other month or every month, basically, understand what people are saying for a particular feature or your product in general. And once you have that, you can able to tweak based on the data and find ways to make your customer experience tighter and better. So yes, Google Hotjar, Google tools like Hotjar, and yeah, you'll find them there.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. I think that's it.
You're welcome.
I see the hot job, but I didn't really realize what it was used for. Traditionally, we
Oh
we
yeah,
use Google Forms to get feedback, and
yeah, I
we
know.
send out some reviews on Google Forms so
Mhm,
customers can let us
mhm,
know how they feel about our
mhm.
services.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, it's always good to get feedback from
yeah.
as many
Mm.
customers as possible, so you can
Mhm,
tweak
mhm. Yeah,
your services. It can be very
yeah.
minor things that customers are noticing, and you yourself,
Very.
you
Mhm.
didn't realize that it was a big deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
And 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 one more thing before you go, a lot of people underestimate the traditional phone call or meeting people. As odd as it sounds, I've
the
done a
best
lot of
way.
courses, a lot of that is one of the best ways. Like for instance, let me give you a practical example. Maybe a B2B startup, and there's this particular company that gives you like maybe 5% of your revenue, which is a large chunk. The others are maybe point something percent. Sit down with them at least once a month. People like what, how is the experience like? Like get proper feedback, you know, do that monthly or quarterly and see face to face, not even survey. So as they're speaking, you know, you're writing traditional sense, you know, or maybe you have a survey that you want them to feel right in front of you or something. And or take the founder or the team lead out for tea. I need something, I need a favor from you. Please, your team members that use these products, I have some questions. I need them to answer honestly. Yes, there's so many ways. Just communicate with who you want feedback with, and in different ways that you can, and that's it. Yeah. Mm.
Amazing. Thank you for that.
Yeah, well,
Kemi, thank you so much for this
yeah.
session. I can't believe 1 hour has gone already. We're even 1 hour, 10
I know.
minutes now. I can't believe 1 hour has
Oh,
gone
1 hour,
already.
9 minutes.
It felt like 10
I
minutes.
know. I
Um,
know. I know.
Thank you so much for joining us on Business
You're
Leaders
welcome.
webinar. I really appreciate your insight. We really appreciate your insights. As the comments
You're
can say,
welcome.
thank you for being our first webinar back. I mean, we were doing this. We were supposed to do
You're
this last,
welcome.
I think, but then December plus Q1 2023, very
Mm-hmm,
special time.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I'm glad we made the time to do it. So just to close out, I'm going to talk about your business a bit and then what we do as well.
Oh,
So
okay.
Kemi Martins is a brand strategist. You can find her on Instagram at your brand exec. I've plugged the earlier. You can also find her brand agency at branddosh.com. So branddosh.com. And your brand exec. I'm looking for it. I can't find where I wrote it. Yes, and that's their Instagram for where she shows branding advice. So yeah, Kemi Martins, thank you so much for your time. You already know what we do at Halisi
You're
Consults.
welcome,
Our goal is
Tolani.
to thank
Yeah,
you. Our goal is to help
you're welcome.
businesses and thrive. At Halisi, Halisi is a business development consulting company, and we help small businesses, startups, and SMEs launch, grow, and thrive through our business planning services, our marketing services, and our financing advisory services. We also do market research for startups, which is something that we've been seeing an uptick in recently. So I really like that
Mm.
that was one of the things that you mentioned. We're currently doing a
Mm-hmm,
market
mm-hmm.
research project for a
Good.
startup tech space, marketing tech space, and it's
Awesome.
going really well. It's very hard to do
Okay.
market research in Nigeria because there's no
It
data.
is. It is.
Um,
It is. It is. It is.
there's no
I'll tell
data.
you that for
People
free.
just
Mm-hmm,
make assumptions on Twitter and they believe that
mm-hmm,
this is
mm-hmm.
true.
Mm.
But on the contrary, it's not. So we offer marketing research services as one of the services that we do at Halisi because
Mm-hmm.
startups, small businesses, medium-sized enterprises need that service.
Yeah.
Anyway, I believe this brings us to the end of our session. It was super insightful. Thank you so much for your time.
Likewise.
Um,
Thank you,
One of
Tolani.
our commenters says thank you so much from Nene.
Thank you,
So yeah,
guys. Mm.
thank you everyone for joining us. Till next time.
Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.